In this episode, F1 at Monza, Indycar at Portland, and the NASCAR playoffs start in Darlington. Welcome to episode 264 of the We Are Auto Show. What's up, Derek?
Mr. Michael Rao, there was a lot of racing that happened this past weekend.
There was more racing than I knew of.
Yeah, there was an IndyCar racing that snuck past your radar.
It did. For some reason, in my list, it just didn't make... He wasn't even there for some reason. Either way.
That's okay. We'll still chat about it. But first, let's kick it off with some F1.
Yes.
F1 was in the Monza.
Yes.
At Monza.
Italian GP.
Yeah, which is basically Ferrari's cauldron of fire, where if you go there, you must be part of the Tifosi, and if you're not, you will be escorted out.
Correct.
And Ferrari put on a show, I will say.
Against themselves. Yes.
Kind of. Initially, Ferrari was on pole.
They were on pole.
Which was cool to see, especially at their home track. And the Tifosi was losing their mind that Ferrari did get pole. It didn't last forever, but it lasted longer than I thought it would. So I think it took like 20-ish, 15, 20 laps.
Yeah, I think it was like 14 laps or something like that.
A lot longer than I thought. I thought within 3 laps, Max was going to be blown past. Nope. First time DRS opened on that car, I expected him to blow past.
The Ferraris were quick.
Yeah.
But they weren't consistent.
No, and that's been a problem of them for the past 2 to 3 years.
At this race, they were known as the great qualifying car, but not the great racing car.
Yes, and that's been the case for a while.
Yeah.
And it's the pit shambles car as well. But
yes,
luckily, we didn't see a lot of that this time.
I am surprised. I actually was talking to people and saying, okay, I'm anticipating lap 19 for them to have completely botched this whole thing.
No, they didn't do that. But they gave it as much of an effort as I think they could have.
Yeah.
There was one moment near the end where the two Ferraris were battling, and one of the Ferrari bosses came over the radio and told Leclerc, please don't do anything dumb here so we can get our... where'd they finish? Like
P3, P4.
Oh, okay. So we can at least get a car on the podium. And then he proceeded to just send it down the inside of his teammate.
Twice.
Yeah.
It was like 2 laps in a row. Leclerc goes super deep, locks it up, and misses his teammate by inches into the chicane.
That was the majority of the fun of this race. Other than that, there wasn't a ton that happened.
Yuki Tsunoda got a DNS.
Did he?
Yeah, did not start.
Oh, you're right. He did not start.
On the formation lap, smoke coming out of, well, his cockpit.
Yep.
That didn't go well for him.
Yeah, I've never... I don't think I've ever seen an F1 car blow up on the drive to the grid.
I'm surprised it wasn't a Haas, but...
No, it wasn't.
I will say, Liam Lawson, solid drive.
It was pretty good.
I think it was a P11.
Close to the points.
You know what? He's looking pretty attractive for some teams right now.
Mm-hmm. Another notable driver, it was, who was it in the Williams?
Albon.
Yes.
Sargent
Albon.
or Albon?
I think it was Albon. Albon's doing pretty good right now. For what he has had earlier in the season, I think he had 2 points throughout the first, 15 races in the season. And in the last 15, he has, 20 points.
Alex Albon finished P7.
Yeah, I think that's tied for his best.
Big points for him.
That is big points for him.
That's big points for him. I mean, honestly, some back markers finished decently.
Mm-hmm.
Valtteri Bottas in an Alpha got a point, P10.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hello? Did you see that little tussle between Piastri and Hamilton?
I don't recall that one.
So, Piastri and Hamilton sends it on Piastri where there really wasn't room to send it, makes contact tire to tire, pushes them both off track, and Hamilton was given a penalty for it. Because Hamilton jigged hard right at the last second.
Yep.
But as much as I'm not a fan of Hamilton, good on him. Did you see what he did after the race?
Nope.
He came over to Piastri, came up to him and gave him the, I'm really sorry about that. That was a bit of a dick move on my part. Sorry.
Okay. He owned up to it.
Yeah.
All good.
He did.
Yep. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like
overall,
the livery of that Alpha.
race was It was okay. It wasn't as entertaining as the previous race, the one that happened at Zandvoort, because it had chaos and rain, and the race started in the wet. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
This one was a little boring once Max got out front. He just kind of managed the gap, and yeah, it was Max doing Max things.
Yeah, bulls on parade here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Who was on the podium?
So Verstappen, quite obviously, followed by Checo Perez in the other Red Bull. Then you had Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari,
Okay.
followed by Charles Leclerc in the other Ferrari. So
Yep.
P3, P4, big points for Ferrari here.
I think P3, P4 was a realistic best expectation they could have had at home.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they ever had a chance of winning the race,
No.
but realistically, a P3, P4, that's a good finish for them.
Yeah. Yep. I do think that they really need to figure out how to not make the rest of the season super stale, because it's getting close to the season being very stale.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what they're going to change. I don't think they can really do much.
So at this point, I kind of just want to see Verstappen win every race at this point.
Do you?
I kind of do. I want to see, can you actually manage to win every single remaining race?
He hasn't won them all, but Red Bull would win them all.
Well, he's only not won one,
Yes.
and that was his teammate that won it.
Yes.
So I would, just to see, can you make the history? Because that was history, mate. That was 10 consecutive races for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like the most like ever.
Yeah, it is.
You know what? I'd like to see him do it.
Yeah.
We're this late in the season. What good is going to come up if he doesn't?
I know.
I want to see him break the record.
It's
Well,
just,
he's already breaking it, but I want to see him demolish the record at this point.
it's just boring. That's all. I'm with you. If the record is going to happen, I think now's a good time for it to happen, because it's so far gone. There's no entertainment value there. It's just whatever. Fine.
That's what I'm saying. It's already
Okay.
this late in the season. Just
Yep.
win every race. I'm cheering for him to win every race now.
But wouldn't you have rather seen the Tifosi lose their mind had Ferrari won that race? It would have been so
but
much
there's
better
no
to
way
watch.
that was going to happen.
No. Well, unless Max gets wrecked out. No, there's no way.
Correct.
Yeah. Which, I don't know. At this point, if I were a driver, I'd be thinking about it.
Would you really?
Yeah. Why not?
Would you also be thinking about your FIA license?
It depends on how you do it. Like, if he's going down you and you throw a block and like he runs into you, well, okay. It could be a racing incident.
It can.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's just F1's going to be in a weird spot because watching Red Bull win every single race is not good for TV ratings. It's not good for entertainment value. It's just not good for the sport. It's not at all good for the sport.
Agree.
Yeah. And if I were another manufacturer like Audi, I would not want to be getting into F1 right now. It does not look appealing to me at all. Yeah.
F1.
Anyway, let's move on to another open wheel series. And this was the one that you missed, which was IndyCar over at Portland.
And I'm sad I missed it because from the highlights, what a race this was.
This looked awesome to watch. There were battles everywhere up and down the field. This track looks relatively fun to drive.
It looks very twisty.
It looks twisty, relatively flat. I don't think there's a ton of elevation, but it's okay. You don't need it. It does help a little bit, though. And it made for some good battling. There's a bunch of good side-by-side moments. There's committed corners where people, when they do go side-by-side, one of them will put two tires off the road and kick up a bunch of dust, and I'll get all squirrely and crazy. It looked really fun, and there was a lot of side-by-side battling, and I want to see, like, IMSA go here or something else go here.
I would love to see more series go to Portland.
SRO goes there. I know that for sure, but I don't know. I don't think IMSA does. I
wish
think
they
touch
would.
it. I suspect it's related to the track ownership debacle
Probably.
with NASCAR and I forget the name of the corporation that owns like most of the NASCAR. If it says Speedway after the name,
Okay.
it's like owned by a corporation that has the copyright to say it's a Speedway type thing.
Got it.
So yeah, we'll see how. We'll see if they ever end up making it there. But IndyCar going there was awesome to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the highlights were amazing. I mean, battles everywhere.
There were moments where Colton Herta ended up shutting the engine off, had to bump start the car, or like looped it around, shut the engine off, and bump started his car. Grosjean was doing Grosjean things, which was crashing into things. That's okay.
On like lap 2 or something like that.
That's what he does.
Jesus.
Will Power had a big moment where he like just kind of pushed it too hard into a corner and lost it on his own.
Yeah.
And he's battling with someone, but it was very unlike him to have that kind of moment. Yeah, fascinating race.
Very, and I wish I would have watched it live.
So, who took the win?
Alex Palou,
Okay.
of course, right? Followed by Felix Rosenquist and Scott Dixon.
Okay.
So there's your podium.
Okay. Yeah. I believe that Palou has a good championship lead at this point.
I think he's wrapped it up at this point.
It might be clinched. I'm not 100%
I'm pretty sure Palou's clinched it at this point.
Yeah, it might be. Interesting to see what happens with the contract shenanigans in the future.
Yeah, we're going to see what happens.
We will. But let's chat about the final race, which is actually NASCAR. And they were over at Darlington.
Yeah, got to get Darlington stripes. Right?
Got to run the high line. Cool track where the progressive banking allows you to run the high line faster than the low line. Also kind of weird because you run right up against the wall. And apparently, you know how airplanes have ground effect, where the air gets like pushed into the earth and then comes back up in a little rebound effect. You can apparently do that here with the wall, where you basically get so-called ground effect in quotes between you and the wall.
It's almost like a little suction buffer.
There's a little cushion of air that sits there and kind of keeps you away from the wall, which kind of cool.
That is pretty neat and probably scary as hell if you've never done it before.
Yeah, if it's your first time, I'm sure it's terrifying.
Because I don't want to put a car within a foot of the wall at 190 miles an hour.
No, but it's the fastest way.
I don't want to do it, though.
It's you would inch your way up there. It's not like you just full send it in right away. You'd, start halfway up the track.
Have you seen what I'm like on iRacing?
Okay, I would inch my way up there. You would just smash into the wall.
I would probably go full Ross Chastain at this point.
You full on murder man. Watching your races have been awesome. I've seen you murder a few men, and it's been a good time.
A few, one.
It's been funny. It's been very entertaining. But this NASCAR race is the first NASCAR race in the NASCAR playoffs, which I believe has 12 drivers in it. We'll come back to the whole NASCAR playoff situation in a moment here. But it means that 12, I think it's 12, is it 12 or 16? I can't remember now. I think it's 12 drivers end up having a different kind of like situation where if they get wins, it helps. There's a 3-round series, yada, yada. Who took down the win at this race? And then let's talk about how the NASCAR playoffs work.
Sure. So the win went to Mr. Kyle Larson.
Okay.
Yeah.
The number 5 car.
Win. Yeah.
And then who else was on the podium?
Tyler Reddick and Chris Buescher.
Okay. I don't know off the top of my head if those guys are all in. But this is what I've found for the NASCAR playoff schedule here. So there's a round of 16. Okay, so 16 drivers were in initially. Then a round of 12, then a round of 8, and then the final race.
Final 4, yeah.
Yeah, coming to the final race, there will be 4 people left. So after these 3 races up here, after Darlington, Kansas, and Bristol, there will be a cut of what I believe will be 4 drivers. And those points are based off of like where you finish in those 3 races, based off of where you finish as far as the what do they call those? The splits that they do for the race.
Stages.
The stages.
Yes.
And it's relatively complicated. Here's the list of actual drivers that are in it. The point standings are just not relevant after this race. They were what it was going into the playoff start. But it'll be a storyline to keep an eye on as far as who's going to get the bump at the end of Bristol, who's going to get the bump at the end of Charlotte, and then who will be the final 4 going into the championship race at Phoenix. Mm-hmm. And to my understanding, in Phoenix, all the points will be reset as far as those 4 drivers go. So it's just 4 drivers gunning for the win at Phoenix, and you just got to beat the other 3.
That's my understanding as well, is once you get to Phoenix, you're just essentially a final death match.
Up until Phoenix is the only point in which the points all reset. They kind of reset between the rounds. Some do, some don't. Yeah, it's a little weird. Not worth explaining here. But if you want to go read it, this will be in the description. You can go check out how the NASCAR playoffs work.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you this question, because the whole reason I wanted to understand how this works is, should F1 implement something like this?
Okay. Okay. So, you're going to ask me this question. On Tuesdays, I think they should, but on Wednesdays, I think they shouldn't.
Oh.
So, I see the merit to it. Because it does mean that there's not going to be one Max Verstappen that just wins the entire season, like, in like the fourth race the whole year, right? But I also do just like to see if there's like someone that's doing really good, like, don't punish him for doing really good.
I think there's a middle ground somewhere where this feels overly complicated to me.
It does.
Having 4 rounds, a ton of stuff, like cuts for certain drivers and certain stage points, it's a bit too much.
I agree.
I do think that there's like a middle ground where the final 6 races of the season is like a battle between the top 10, and everybody else is out.
That'd like that idea.
That'd be fun. I don't think we need to go full this path, but F1 needs to make a change because it's bad.
It's pretty much already settled up.
It's bad. Yeah. Well, I don't foresee this happening anytime soon in F1. They are very traditionalist when it comes to that kind of thing. They would hate to make that change.
They're not going to do that.
There's no way they ever do that. But if they start losing fans, and if people don't watch, and eyeballs don't show up for advertisers, and money goes away, I don't know.
The question is,
money talks.
Do you think money will actually go away?
I don't know. I
don't think it will.
I think
F1 is so big that it'll never die.
Never?
Well,
no. But yeah, not in the next 5 years. No. It's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would take a very long time.
It would.
10 years or more.
It would.
Yep. Cool. I think that's all I got, buddy.
All right, so that does bring us to the upcoming races, which I'm hoping I didn't miss anything here. But this weekend, we have a very wonderful series racing the World Endurance Championship. That is racing again. That is the 6 hours of Fuji.
That's probably going to be on like the middle of the night for us, isn't it?
Probably.
All right.
But yeah, that'll be a good race to watch. Indy is racing at Laguna Seca.
Nice.
That'll be good to watch. And NASCAR is racing their next round in Kansas.
Yes, they are. I think it's a 1.5 mile oval. Pretty sure.
Those
Maybe 2
are
miles.
what I saw as the next major races. F1
Great.
is taking a break this weekend.
Yes, they are.
They're going to Singapore the weekend after, I think.
Believe you're right. A night race.
Yes. So that's all I got. It's going to wrap us up then. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Episode 264. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up, and drop a comment on the video. What do you think about F1 implementing a NASCAR-style playoff? And if you're listening on audio only, send us those thoughts via social. Facebook is WeAreAuto, Instagram is WeAreAuto_, YouTube is WeAreAuto, and our website is weareauto.io. So thanks again. Catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.